morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another Thursday morning. The spirit world sees all, and it really, really, really does. First, I'd like to say good morning to my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, who, as always, is standing to my right side. I'd like to say good morning to, he's disappeared. I'd like to say good morning to Couture. He's probably laying in his comfy, soft, cushy bed in the kitchen somewhere. He can't hear anymore, so he's sort of just goes and curls up there and just lets himself go to sleep. And we'd like to say good morning also to Chris. Say good morning, Chris.
Good morning, everyone.
So, wow. Well, we've got news for you. We've got all sorts of news for you. But I don't know if any of you did see the teaser this morning, the little thing I put out to remind you all that I'm coming on. But I thought that, when we first started this show, at least 2 or 3 years ago or something like that, anyway, at least, not longer, we used to have a theme, and somehow or another we've got out of the habit of having a theme that we would talk about and that I'd ask people to give their opinions on and make comments about. So we're going back to that idea, particularly this morning, and I'd love to hear from you all, your own ideas, your own comments, your own thoughts on what we're going to be talking about, because we do know, don't we, COVID is still going. It's odd because even though the numbers are up, people are, certainly in Florida, people are much more relaxed about it. Are the numbers really up? I've gotten to the point, I don't believe a word that anybody says anymore about COVID. I am done with COVID. I know too many people who went for tests, sat themselves down to wait, put in all their details, filled out all the forms, including their phone number, gave their, whatever health plan you're under, gave all of that, decided to leave because the wait was too long, only to be called 2 hours later, not even having had the COVID test, being told, yeah, you've got COVID. I know not just one couple, I know several couples, I know several people, not just couples, who for one reason or another have had similar experiences. And of course, we know also that there are people out there who are dying, but we also know that there are people who are dying under many different circumstances. And the most shameful thing, I think, about this whole COVID thing, or one of the most shameful things, is that if a hospital has a patient who dies of COVID, they get a lot more money for that one particular patient from the government than they do if the patient died of cancer or heart issues, which they've probably been suffering from for years and years and years. So the incentive for many hospitals is to say, well, just let's put it down as COVID. When it might not be COVID at all. I am not saying, everybody out there, please understand, I'm not saying that COVID does not exist. Of course it does. We should take great care. But can we really believe the numbers anymore? And personally, I do not believe a word of the media. I don't believe a word of the media when it comes to politics either. I think they're all lying. I think they're all feathering their own beds. I wish it would stop. I really, really wish that we'd have somebody stand up and say, well, actually, this, and this is a lie, but here's the truth, people. It's so very, very hard for us to figure out what is a lie, what is the truth. And unfortunately, the media seem to me to have been on a bit of a rampage lately, firing us all up and creating this atmosphere of fear and fear-based information. I don't want to sound political. Am I sounding political, Chris?
Not yet.
Good. Do you have any comments on this at all? Because you may well totally disagree with what I'm saying.
Well, I know Jan's on, and she's saying the hospital in several parts of Wisconsin are at capacity due to COVID.
Right. Okay. And I'm not I'm not discounting it. And I know that COVID exists, and I know that people are dying from this disease, or at least becoming very sick from this disease. But the percentage of people who are dying is, so minimal. You can shoot me, don't shoot me. That's just my experience of this is that everybody wants to point the finger at everybody else. I mean, I don't particularly care for Donald Trump, but how can anybody point the finger and say it's his fault that COVID's around? He gave the job to the governors. Can we please stop pointing the finger and just get on with trying to deal with the issue? It seems to me that, there are so many people jumping on the bandwagon trying to make this a political issue when it is, in my opinion, certainly should not be a political issue. Nothing of the kind should be made political. And, it just seems to me, I don't know, the meanness that's out there, the unkindness that is going on at the moment, the confusion and the fear that is going on with everybody. We cannot change what other people say. We cannot change what other people think. But what we can do, in fact, is to try and change how we're dealing with the situation. We can, in fact, change that. And so a little bit later on today, I'm going to talk about the things that we can do and the things that we should be doing for ourselves. I know that people are getting riled up about the election right now. I know that people are getting riled up about COVID. I know people are getting riled up about so many things. So what, in fact, is it that we can do to calm ourselves and to stop the panic that so much of the media does seem to be trying to create within us? I want to start by saying people can only do to us what we allow them to do. So if we listen and buy into the fear, then that's our choice. COVID exists, no doubt about it. Some people have died, a lot of people have died due to COVID. No argument there. But for the majority of us, if we take care, if we wear our masks in certain places, if we make sure that we are protected, and we make sure that we wash our hands and we do all the things that are necessary to keep us safe from this horrible thing that is going around, if we do all of those things, then we are pretty well ensuring we're doing the very best that we can do. And to worry and to get upset and to become fearful is, as easy as it is for us to do it, it becomes a waste of our energy and it becomes a waste of our time, because the bottom line is that what is going to happen regardless of the things that we try to do. As long as we try to protect ourselves the best way we can, that's all we can do. So, all right, so let's get to the elections and the craziness and the crazy things that are going on around the elections. It's so sad when we in the Western world, with our Western cultures, with our being able to speak out and to encourage people to be tolerant, to be loving, to be caring. Isn't it so shameful that we have people who are allowed to get away with rioting, who are allowed to get away with meanness, who are allowed to get away on TV, no less, in spouting things that, in days gone by, you would put down to the Hitler regime or the regime of Pol Pot, or we put it down. That's history. We don't do those things anymore. We put it down to all of the bombings in the clinics where people have abortions. We put it down to the intolerance of the gay community. That's history, isn't it? Those are the things that happened, that we came through. Those are the things that we grew from. Those are the things we now know should not be tolerated. And yet here we are, and tolerating, and some people even encouraging the rioting and the meanness and the unkindness, and the amount of people who, when Donald Trump became sick, the amount of people who were going, whoopee, he deserves it. Come on, what kind of a human being are you to say such a thing? You should be ashamed. Ashamed, ashamed, ashamed. Let us not forget we are spiritual beings having a human experience, but hopefully in a spiritual way. That last bit is mine, by the way. The first two sentences, Tirade de Jean, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. All of you out there who go out and you do your meditations and you do your healing and you want to connect and you want to be closer to God and you want to be closer to your loved ones in the spirit world. I told a story, not this last Saturday, the Saturday before, about how the children see us and how those children in the spirit world came to my group a few years ago now to say to us, we see you, we see you. We're going to be having a webinar in December to do with angels, and believe you me, our angels look at us, but they don't look at us with judgmental eyes. They look at us with eyes that are filled with sadness for our humanness and for our human condition right now. But their eyes also, when we do something that is good, that is right, that is a spiritual thing that we do, when we are nurturing our soul, when we are displaying kindness and loving and caring for our fellows, our angels look at us with joyful eyes. They do not like it when we are not nice. They see us when we are not nice. And for all of our wanting to be more spiritual, and I think in this generation, particularly in the last, let's say, I would say in this generation, and the younger people that are about, we are finding so much more to be joyful about, in that we are finding more joy in our spiritual selves. We are acknowledging this is a time in our lives when we are, all of us, acknowledging, accepting, and loving the fact that we are spiritual beings, loving the fact that we can, by our own hand, meditate, that we can, if we taught how, we can learn to heal ourselves. We can, in fact, become healers. And there are so many, sort of incredible and huge movements, bodies of people who are like me out there, trying to say, can we be more kind? Can we be more godly? Can we be more loving? And yet, even those who go out to meditate might be those who would say mean things, spiteful things, nasty things, unnecessary things, because unkindness is never, ever necessary. What can we do? What can we do about this? I'd love to hear your opinions. If you think that I'm so far off the mark, and believe you me, this is not a political broadcast. It is not a political pronouncement. I do not like Donald Trump. There, it's out in the open. Nor do I like Biden. There, it's out in the open. It's all out there. I'm not for one party necessarily or another, and that my thoughts, my private thoughts, of course, are my own, and the way that I would vote, I would never ever say, because I'm not going to influence anybody else. It's your choice. I dislike all of these, and some of them I love, some of these movie stars and celebrities, I love them, but they should know, and they must know, the influence that they have on people. And so if they say, or vote for this person, they're going to turn the votes. Can we encourage people to think for themselves? Can we encourage people to find their own truths? Let them find their own truths in amongst all the mess and all the stuff that is going on. Right. What can we do? Chris, have you got anything to say yet?
Well, how would you like to hear a couple of comments from folks?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Leslie says, good to hear your thoughts. Bright Star says, you are absolutely right. Same here in Europe and the Netherlands. Leslie said that the folks in the hospitals are dying from underlying conditions. Janet says, I worked in a nursing home where my staff got COVID, but not too many of the residents. I'm in New York, and I think our governor did a great job. There were a couple more here. Mark says, as for COVID, we all need to step back and be patient, be kind to another, practice safe distancing, and yes, wear masks. I'm tired of hearing all this too.
Anything else going on? Thanks for those comments.
A couple more in the same line. Darinka says, it's sad that so many people are dying from this disease. Kitty says, do your best and let God handle the rest. And Suzanne says, I'm glad you're sharing your experience about COVID, and I'm very grateful for what you're going to share about what we ourselves can do. Thank you. She's also asking if Grey Eagle has something to share with her.
Well, Grey Eagle is going to share with all of us in a few minutes, as I'm going to give you some couple of exercises. Don't expect miracles. You are the ones who have to do the exercises. You are the ones who have to put yourselves in this place. But before we go into people dying of COVID and so on, and whoever it was who said people are dying of underlying symptoms, it is true with any disease, right? It is true in Victorian times. If you suffered with lung deficiency and you got a cold, it exacerbated the problem. If you are suffering from, a serious disability, a cancer or a heart or so on, a cold can kill you, COVID can kill you. But if we're going to put everything down to COVID, because the hospitals are raking in the money from the government, and I don't think it should be allowed. Whatever it is that you are dying from, however the numbers, relate in hospitals, it shouldn't be. But if it's COVID, let's give you another $40-50. Here you go per patient, because then there's no incentive for the hospitals to be truthful. If a hospital needs funds, if it needs funding, oh good, this is a good way to make funds. Why is it even happening? It's mind-boggling to me. It's absolutely mind-boggling to me. All right, so enough of all of that. So it is true that aside from the elections which are coming up, it is true that aside from COVID, do you know how many households are suffering with all sorts of other issues, not being able to pay the bills, not having a job, having to go on a special diet? There are a trillion things that individuals have to deal with on a daily basis. I want to sell my house, but I can't sell my house. On it goes. So any kind of a stress, whatever it is, whether it is COVID or whether it is the political thing that's going on, whatever storm is happening within you, around you, or within this country, whatever storm there is, if we can learn to stay calm, if we can learn to just put ourselves in that place of understanding, kindness, loving, and acceptance, then we stand a far better chance of surviving mentally intact, emotionally intact. I want you also to remember, all of you out there who are worrying about dying, and I know there are lots of people who, despite COVID, other than COVID, are afraid of dying because, you know, it just is one of the unknowns in our lives, so to speak. It is true that you cannot, it is not possible in the bigger scheme of things. God decides, not COVID, not influenza, not cancer. God decides when it is time for us to come home. So if it is not your time, you could be really sick. You could be sick for years, in fact, for different reasons. But if it is not your time, it will not happen. And if it is your time, well, then it's your time. And there's not a thing you can do to wriggle out of it. It's your time. When God calls us home, we have to go. That may be a scary thought for some of you. It's a very comforting thought as far as I'm concerned, because I know that no matter what happens to me, I cannot go and will not go before my time, and there's no point in worrying too much about that. However, how do I deal with that? How do I deal with sickness? How do I deal with the political stuff? How do I deal with the stresses and strains, not just that the world has to offer, but the stresses and strains of trying to do the job that I do in the way that is a good way, a right way? So the first thing we need to do is to sit. So if you're out there and you're watching me, why don't you do this with me? Okay. So we sit. We take a deep breath. We use our solar plexus. We breathe in through the solar plexus. And we lift, we breathe in, and we take that breath all the way up and we fill our lungs. We fill ourselves to capacity. And then we hold it just for a few minutes or a few seconds. Just hold it, hold it, hold it. And let it go, let it go, let it go. Now, as we're doing this little exercise, we can, using visualization techniques, we can close our eyes and we can visualize this incredible blue healing light that is out there for us all. This incredible blue light that we can fill ourselves with. We can literally fill ourselves up with this blue light. And as we are filled with this blue light, again, visualizing, try adding a little bit of pink in there. A little tiny bit of pink and a little tiny bit of green. Shall we try that? Do you want to try that with me? So closing your eyes and trying to visualize this incredible energy, because that's what we're trying to create within us and surrounding us. We're trying to give ourselves this beautiful, serene, healing energy using blue, which is the universal healing color, using that little bit of pink in there, which is the color of love, and also encouraging green to come in here. And green is the color of peace, the color of calm, and the color of tranquility. So let's try it again. For those of you who've never done this before, for those of you who've never tried to visualize and use visualization techniques, I do have my guided meditations out there. You can get them on Amazon and all over the place. You can get them. The first one, which is going to be extremely helpful to you all, is called Give the Gift of Healing. Is it called that? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Right, Give the Gift of Healing. There you are. And so, all right, so let's just try this. If you have your own meditation tapes, or if you're used to meditating, or if you want to do this, just sort of putting on that some nice soft music, you close your eyes and visualize yourself. You can visualize yourself lying on a beach under a blue sky, or in a wonderful park, laid on beautiful, beautiful, soft, vibrant green grass with a blue sky above you. You can visualize somebody wrapping a warm blue blanket about you, or if you've got a blue blanket yourself, you can wrap yourself in this incredible blue healing light. Um, so let's try it. So I'm going to visualize that I'm lying on a beach under a blue sky. I'm going to let that sky wash over me. I'm going to let the color blue wash over me. And automatically, as I do this, of course, I've been doing this for many years, I do see little streaks of pinks and greens within the blue. And even talking about it, I'm already feeling calmer, and I'm already feeling better about myself. I'm already feeling better about my situation. I'm already feeling better about the fact that I have created this incredible, beautiful healing energy that is surrounding me. I'm remembering to breathe. So breathe, take it in, fill your lungs again, visualize that energy. Oh my goodness, visualize that blue sky just warming you and filling you with the love of God. That is an exercise that you can do sitting down in your own living room, and I'm going to suggest you do that every day. It's also an exercise that, strangely, let's say you're walking through a supermarket and you hear somebody's arguing in the background there, or you're feeling yourself, all sorts of things are coming into your head about different things. You can give yourself a quick fix. You close your eyes, you visualize that energy surrounding you, and as you visualize the energy around you, you can immediately calm. You can immediately feel better. It's giving you something to do to ease the stress. It's giving you something to do to calm you down. If you want to know more about that, or to learn more about how to do that, go to YouTube and you'll find our Healing Hands Around the World. And every week I tell people how to do this, what to visualize, how to visualize, and how to create a feeling within you of peace and calm, so that anything that comes at you, you can deal with in a much better way, in a much calmer way, in a much more peaceful way, and in a much easier way. So try that at home. Go to YouTube, find, I think you'll find it on my channel, Healing Hands Around the World. And we are going to be, in the new year, we're going to do more of that. We're going to be creating peace and calm and tranquility within our own selves, in our own household, within our own mind. We're going to be able to calm ourselves, and to, instead of getting worked up, or instead of getting afraid, or instead of feeling that panic that sometimes overcomes us, this simple little exercise that only needs to last a couple of minutes, this simple little exercise is something that you can do to relieve your stress, to relieve your tension, and just sit quietly. Or as you're walking through the supermarket, just stand by one of the counters, pretend you're looking in the freezer for chicken or meat or something, whatever it is. Nobody's going to notice. Just give yourself that little bit of a boost. Breathe, breathe, and visualize. So it's breathing and visualizing and creating. When you're breathing calmly, calming yourself down, what you're automatically doing is you're raising your level of consciousness to become aware of what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and you are in control of that. Nobody else out there can control your mind. The only person who can control your mind is you. So be in control. Create that energy that you need. You know, I really needed that few seconds. I really needed that 10 minutes. I really needed that half an hour. If you are by a beach, water will help. If you are by a river, the river will help. If you have seen some of the little clips, in fact, if you go to my web page, you'll see a fantastic little clip that happened in the webinar, in our first webinar last Saturday. A fabulous little clip of a message that a lady got She asked how to become more aware. She asked how she could achieve things for herself, and she was told, find water. Now, some of you, different things will work. Some of you find a forest to walk through. Some of you find different things. You'll know in your own mind. So you can visualize if walking through a forest or walking through a park or walking on a beach, depending on what it is you like to do. Grey Eagle is saying walking on a mountain. You can visualize these things. Close your eyes and put yourself in this place. Using visualization techniques, you can achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. If you're thinking, I don't know what she's talking about, again, go to find the Healing Hands Around the World on my YouTube channel, and I think you'll find it there. And we are going to be streaming more of this stuff. We're going to be letting more people know about this stuff, because in this day and age, boy, oh boy, do we need something. And as much as you are tempted to say, I need a brandy, or I need a vodka, or whatever it is, I promise you that this meditation, the idea of creating visualization techniques to use, will be better than the best ever gin and tonic that you could ever have. So try that. All right, Chris, do we have any comments, anything going on out there? Do you want to make a comment yourself? Because I know that you've done this for many years. We've been using visualization techniques.
Well, it is amazing because it literally just takes a minute of your time. If you can catch yourself and remind yourself to do that meditation, you'll avert a whole lot of problems for yourself. And it just puts you into that place where you can make decisions better. You can see with much more clarity. You just feel much more calmer. So I highly recommend it.
Okay. Any comments, Chris? Anything going on out there?
Oh, yes.
Did everybody go to sleep is what I want to know.
Well, I'm starting at the top, Rosemary.
Pardon?
I'm starting at the top, so people who got their comments in early.
Okay, great.
All right. So Priscilla says, good morning, Rosemary and Grey Eagle. Much love to you. Thank you for all the healings. Hopefully my bestie's dad is transitioning well. Can you give some message?
Well, yes, you're absolutely right. I've got Grey Eagle putting his hand on my shoulder, and I'm not going to say is transitioning well. I'm going to say has transitioned well. So I think there's a bit of a difference there. So, I hope that helps. Keep going, Chris.
Mark says, good morning from Tulsa. It was so grand to have us speak and hear one another on last Saturday's webinar. I loved and learned so much. We must talk again soon. Question. Several years ago, I had close friends for dinner at my home. We sat in the living area and were talking on spiritual things. Then, out of nowhere, most of us heard this R sound that made us all look at one another. It sounded like some spirit was laughing or remarking at what we were saying. It did frighten a couple of folks that were there. To this day, I have no idea who this was. Can Grey Eagle give me some light to this mysterious voice?
No, you're going to have to figure that out for yourself, Mark. I'm not nice to you, am I? I don't think it actually matters who it is or who it was. I think that the fact that you all had that experience is really actually wonderful. You mentioned the webinar, and I will mention that we have now tickets available for our next 2 webinars. One in November, which is next week. Oh gosh, isn't it? No, the webinar isn't next week, but November is next week. So there are 2 webinars now. When you go into into my website, don't be confused when I talk about walls and things like that. So let me just explain a little bit about that. We all put walls up, don't we? We all put walls up to protect ourselves. And very often, as we get older, many of us are able to take down the wall, or at least partly take down the wall, so that we can, so that we can be more open, we can be more loving to different people, we can be more sensitive. But so many people are afraid to take down the wall. So many people don't even realize that the wall is up. So the next seminar is going to be how to heal yourself, brick by brick. We'll take the wall down. I'll show you how to do it. This seminar is going to be all about giving you tools to use so that you can not only take your own walls down, but there are so many marriages, there are so many relationships where communication is so hard, and it's because one or the other has a wall up or partially has a wall up. They don't want to be hurt anymore. They're trying to protect themselves from their emotions being damaged. But in trying to protect ourselves with these walls that we erect, these emotional walls that we erect, what we're also doing is we're not only trying to protect ourselves, we're hiding, and we're sort of not having the experiences of life that we could have. So that's our next webinar. That's in November, and we have a special at Christmas time. Am I going to tell everybody what this is about, Chris, or shall I just keep it for a bit? Oh, well, it's on the web, isn't it? It's on my website, gosh, so I can't even surprise you with it. Christmas time, we're having a special, and it's going to be about angels. It's a 3-hour special. Are there such things as angels? I'm going to tell you about the first time I ever saw an angel. I'm going to tell you about the time when I saw my first earth angel. What is an earth angel anyway? Do they really exist? You'd be amazed. And the story about how I met my first earth angel it's a blow-away story, but it also will help us to understand what angels are about. It will help us to understand the task that angels have. And if any of you out there have ever thought about helping your angels, what are you talking about? I can hear you say. We can actually help our angels. We can and we should, in my opinion. Every one of us strive to help our angels as much as we possibly can. So we're going to be talking about angels. Of course, it was amazing a few weeks ago. I can't remember if it was here on this Thursday show or if it was on the Saturday story time. I can't remember, but I was chatting away and all of a sudden I saw angels in my living room, and I was so blown away by it. I sort of looked and looked again. Am I really seeing that? I'm so skeptical. You see, I question everything. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed. No promises, no promises, no promises. But wouldn't it be great if perhaps one or two of our angels might visit us at this webinar? I'm not promising. I'm hopeful. Gregor's laughing at me, so I don't know. He's not going to tell me. We shall have to wait and see. So they are our two webinars that we're going to be doing. So one in November, one in December. Go to my website, rosemaryaltea.com, and you'll see all of that stuff. And you'll also see, I think, is the clip up, Chris? Is the little clip up of our last webinar?
It is.
So you'll see what happened. Well, you'll get a little tiny little tidbit of what happened last Saturday. Mark, I'm really, really glad and really pleased that you enjoyed yourself at that webinar. I have no idea what I'm doing. I can't remember if I had a question or what it was or if I answered it. So let's keep going, shall we, Chris?
Sure. So just know that some of these comments are still answering the beginning part of your show.
Yes, that's fine.
SJ says, thank you, Rosemary. It's true. We need to stop blaming President Trump. We were lucky to have him there. He worked so hard for us. So stop blaming. It's so easy to blame somebody. Maybe look into ourselves.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the political. I'm not for Trump. I'm not against Trump. I'm not a political being. but you are all entitled, and in fact, you're entitled to express on this show as long as you're respectful and nice about it. You're entitled to give us anything you like. But to blame one individual person just because you don't like him is just ridiculous. It's a nonsense. And the most amazing thing is there are educated people doing this. They're trying to turn our minds. They're trying to influence us into this fear-based culture that we're now. They're trying to force us into. I refuse. I'm just going to do my meditation. I'm going to understand that God is with me. I'm going to understand and to trust, and that works for me. What do you say, Chris?
I agree.
Right.
All right. Betta saying, good morning.
Good morning, Betta.
Tomorrow is my beloved Granny's birthday. Could you send warm wishes to her?
No.
I used to give her violet perfume. Now what can I give her?
I'm not going to send wishes to you, Granny darling. She can hear you better than she can hear me. Gregor is really smiling about this because so many of us think that we cannot, when our loved ones pass, that we cannot celebrate or we cannot give them a gift. Here is, according to Grey Eagle, and maybe your Granny too, better. Who is sort of, I can hear somebody in the background here. According to what I'm being told, if you could gift her with a smile as often as you can throughout the day, of course, Kate wouldn't go amiss either, but that's what I'm told to tell you. But this is what you can give to her. You can give her your happiness. You can give her your smile. Because that, I'm told, is more than enough for her. And as I'm talking to you, I feel that she is surrounding you with so much love. So you must have had a lovely relationship with this lovely lady. Chris.
Angie says, I'm wondering, is there a specific spirit whose job it is to help souls cross over? I have heard that souls of family members come, but is there one specific, and what are they called?
Angels. There are angels. And not to tease you too much, but we are going to be talking about this. And as I said, what role does an angel have in our lives, if they have a role at all? What is the purpose of them being around? I remember going to do a workshop in, I'm trying to think where it was, Colorado. And the place was packed. It was just jam-packed with people. And I was sitting on the stage, and I was so shocked because, usually I might see an angel here, an angel there. There might be two or three. You never know. But on this particular occasion, now I'll tell you more about my experiences with angels in the webinar. But the room suddenly was so bright, became so bright and so filled with light. And at first I didn't realize what was happening. I'm just thinking to myself, what is that? What's that light doing in the back of the room there? And then it wasn't just in the back of the room, it was all around the sides of the room, and the whole room filled with this incredible, beautiful light. And then as I got used to the light, through the light, I saw so many angels. I could not believe the amount of angels that came to that one particular seminar in Colorado. I can tell you, it was beautiful. So the seminar is that, the particular seminar. What's the date of the December seminar, Chris? Is it
December 19th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
okay,
Eastern Standard.
So it's a 3-hour special, the 19th of December. So if you're interested in angels, join me then. Talk about enlightening. I think it's going to be very enlightening, and I'm going to give you some tips and some exercises to show you, to teach you how you can be an angel in training. And if you want to get a head start on that, I have written a book. I think, can you get it on Lulu? I think you get it
Yes.
on lulu.com, or just write to the office, and Chris will give you the link to get the book. And it's called Angels in Training, and it gives a little tips and insights into what we can do to become angels in training. I really like the idea of becoming an angel in training. I feel that I, in some ways, have been an angel in training for years. I'm not sure how well I'm doing. I'm not sure that I've passed any of the tests. I'm not sure there are any to pass. But if you are into angels and you want to learn how to help your angels and how to recognize angels somewhat, join me on the 19th of December. Let's not forget the webinar on the 22nd of November.
21st. They're both Saturdays, yeah?
Both Saturdays, and how to heal yourself. And now, I know that some of you can't make Saturday mornings. So my daughter was telling me, I think we should have some of these webinars on different days, or even at night time or something. So I'd love to hear your opinions on that. So let us know. Email the office, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. Yes, Chris.
Right. Darinka says, he who perseveres reaches. Are there any messages for me? I think they've been trying for quite some time.
I love the fact that you're reaching. And guess what? I'm going to probably confuse you completely, but Gregor has his hand on my shoulder and is telling me that there is a gentleman in the spirit world, a lovely man in the spirit world, who had some sort of heart disease, but at the end went very suddenly, very quickly. Apparently, I have to tell you, he's wearing a hat. Don't know why I have to tell you that, but maybe you will understand. He's wearing a hat, and he's just by your side and helping you, guiding you as much as he can. And I didn't expect all of this. So apparently, again, you've been through some emotional issues. The truth is, haven't we all? But they're talking about your emotional issues and how you've sort of how you've learned, or how you are learning to handle the situation. Here is a really, really important thing for you to learn, my darling. Can you be yourself? Stop trying to be what you think other people want you to be. Just be yourself. Learn to speak out. Learn to give your own opinions. Do it in a way that is gentle, not in an aggressive way. You know, sometimes, and this applies to you, sometimes, you know, you repress, and then when it does come out, it comes out as a bit aggressive or a bit too aggressive. Learn to speak out in a way that people will take, that they'll tolerate, that is kind, but be you. There you are. But your perseverance worked. Yes.
All right, Violet's on.
Good
Hi,
morning,
Rosemary.
Violet.
I thought your webinar was exceptional. I also have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned when you sat in a circle with your students. What was the aim of this, and is it something you still do?
Well, oh gosh. Well, when I sit in it's, you know, we use the term circle, yes, but it is a circle. When I sit in a circle with my students, the aim is to help them to learn, to grow. If I'm sitting within a group, for instance, if my students are learning about healing, then they're learning about energy. So I'm teaching them about energy, and I'm teaching them about colors, and I'm teaching them how to develop their own energy, and how to create their own energy. But also, very importantly, and I'm doing this, it's funny you should ask, do I still do this? Not on a physical level anymore, but we're doing this, Violet, through what is it? You know, what is it? Oh my goodness, my brain is gone. I have a group of students, and we're doing it online. Thank you. And one of the things that is a very important that I teach my students, and we're doing that this particular exercise. We have done this on and off over the last few weeks. We're teaching them about bringing down the walls and trying to, be brave enough to come from behind the wall, not to be afraid to be hurt, not to be afraid to be timid, but to learn to be yourself, which is what I've just been saying to the last caller here, and breaking down the walls. So, I mean, Violet, I'm sure that you know how much you have protected yourself over the years, afraid to be yourself and afraid to show yourself to others. But when you start to bring the wall down, you become so much better, so much happier. But it does make you very, very vulnerable. And so one of the reasons for our next webinar, I'm glad you enjoyed the last one, darling. The reason for the next webinar, which is about healing yourself and trying to bring down the walls and to sort of to accept and allow yourself to be vulnerable, but be strong enough to be vulnerable, because that's when we experience all the beautiful things in life. So I think it's so important that we do understand we all have walls. We've all built walls. Some of them are thicker and higher, and some of them are not so thick or not so high, but we all have walls of one reason or another. And we need to address that so that we can heal our own selves. I think I answered your question. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure. Right, go for it, Chris.
All right. SJ said,
Violet, let me know. Violet, let me know if I answered your question, would you? Yes.
SJ says, thank you so much. So great the way you are talking. The Holy Spirit is with you for sure. So wonderful to listen to you. No question at that point.
Well, thank you, SJ. Thank you so much for that comment. I like to think that you call it the Holy Spirit. I am, I'm a big proponent of Jesus Christ. He's by my side as much as he can be. I try to do what I feel is God's work, which is simply just sort of to be kind, to be gentle, to be loving, and and so many people have either forgotten that, or they're afraid, again, behind the wall, hiding behind the wall. If you've been hurt, and look, I'm holding my hand up, I've been hurt loads over the years of husbands and boyfriends and mother parents, and we all of us have all of those things. And every time somebody hurts us, it's like a little drop of poison that goes inside of us, and then another little drop and another little drop, until we feel that we are so hurt and angry, and all of that poison is within us, and we build the walls. And how can we bring the walls down? How can we let go of the poison? How can we heal ourselves and make ourselves as God wanted us to be, as pure and as good as we can possibly be, growing and learning? If we have poison within us, if we have negativity within us, we can't grow so well. We can't do so well. We can't have the full experience of being a spiritual being. So so the webinar in November is going to be addressing all of that stuff. And again, I will say, if you go to my web page, which my daughter created for me, but Chris, thank goodness, put all the pieces in place so that she could do her creative stuff. Thank you so much, Chris. We have a really lovely website now, and you'll see little video snips and different things going on. If you go there, you'll see that you can in fact book your tickets now, and the Christmas special, if you want it, you better go get it. So, because we do limit. All right, Chris, let's have another question now.
Leslie's asking, lately when I meditate, I feel a Scandinavian / Viking type present. Does Gray Eagle see anyone like that around me?
Oh, I like this question. I'm going to say that I'm not sure where you come from, but the Vikings were they got about. They got about a lot. If you look at the British, it's funny really, because when we look at the Native Americans and we talk about how you know so many people tried to destroy the Native Americans, the Native American culture, and tried to obliterate, as Hitler obliterated the Jews. And when you look at the British, we were obliterated. Well, we were invaded to the point where I don't think there is such a thing anymore as a true Briton. We've all got different coloured eyes. We've all, some Italian in there, some Viking blood in there, some Saxon blood in there. We're all, we are definitely a mix. If you have this feeling of power and relate it to this Viking era, it could be that somewhere in your subconscious that you've been influenced by this. I know that when I saw the movie The Vikings, remember that with Kirk Douglas and Kurt, what was his name? I can't believe I've forgotten. It's Curtis. I can't remember his first name.
Tony?
But anyway, pardon?
Tony?
Oh,
Tony
gosh.
Curtis?
Tony Curtis was my heartthrob. How could I have possibly forgotten his name? Anyway, and there was a part in the movie where the let's say call her the witch or the seer was throwing the runes and she was chanting, and I tell you that influenced me for years and years and years. I mean, they are a very, very strong race, a very powerful race. They were definitely a warrior race. So maybe you are being influenced by the power and relating it to the Vikings. Maybe somebody's trying to say to you, you need to own your power here. You need to draw your own power, build it, create it using visualization techniques. In fact, I'm thinking one of my books, You Own the Power, does give exercises, give little exercises and so on that people can do to own their power. And I think actually you're being told, hey, come on, girl, own your power. Yes, Chris.
It's 3 minutes until 12.
It can't be.
All right, so Sheila Ann is saying, I was wondering if my mother or father-in-law have anything to say.
Not, oh gosh, Sheila, you got to come in earlier or I'll do less talking next time. But not right now. But as somebody, just got a message after trying, keep trying, my darling. Chris.
Adrian's saying, good morning, Rosemary. Have you seen or met Jesus before? Do you know if he will return soon? And with everything going on, it feels like it's almost time.
Well, oh gosh, this is a big question. Yes, I have seen Jesus. I've known him since I was at least 3 years old. That is my first recollection, my first absolute recollection of meeting with him. He is in my life. You're asking, is he returning? As far as I'm concerned, he didn't go anywhere. He's with me as often as he can be. He's with me whenever I need him. So I don't see that he went anywhere because he is within my heart. That's as much as I'm going to say about that. Yes, Chris.
Sarah says, my dog Chico has recently passed away from parvo, and I wanted to know if he's with my other family members in spirit. It's really hard on us. Can you please show me a sign that he's okay?
Gosh, this is like at 1 minute to 12. We're about. Can you ask this question another time when I have a little bit more time for you? But I can safely say that our animals do go to our loved ones. They are with our loved ones who do take the best of care of them. As for showing a sign, you know, that I have no idea. I'm not even going to go there. You know, people say to me all the time, I just want a sign. I just want this. Here's my sign to you. I believe you know in your heart that he's safe, that he's well. I believe you know in your heart that he is with his family, and that should be enough for you. Learn to trust yourself. Couple more, Chris, quick ones.
Sashi from India says there are a lot of ants in my house. We had tried all methods such as pest control and cleaned our house, but despite that, my house is still flooded with ants and we are really disturbed by it. Does Gray Eagle have a message from my house? What is the real issue we are facing, which is leading to so many ants in the house?
There are a number of reasons, but vinegar is the best deterrent for ants ever. So if you can, I know it sounds awful. I promise your house won't stink, but if you can wipe down all of the surfaces, the kitchen surfaces and so on, they are a menace. But vinegar will drive them away, at least from the surfaces where you're eating and where you're cooking and so on. And if you've got foodstuffs, if you just regular vinegar works. They don't like it. They won't go near it. I'm so sorry about that for you. I had a house in that we had marching ants. I would be sitting in the living room and see them marching at the walls. Not nice, but if you've tried pest control and so on, the only thing I suggest to you is to sort of drive them out with vinegar. Yes, Chris.
Amber Lee says, I was watching you on an old episode of Unsolved Mysteries. You truly are an amazing human. I am so curious about your gift.
Wow. Well, maybe you'll join our webinars and learn more about me, because we do go into things in much more depth in those. Right, Chris?
Yes.
We do go into all of this stuff in much more depth doing that. I'm laughing because the Unsolved Mysteries, the one that I was on, was in 1996 or 97. I do believe it was when my first book, The Eagle and the Rose, came out. They did an amazing job. And I'm amazed that all of these years later, so that's got to be, what, 25 years ago or something, 25 years ago, it is still on Unsolved Mysteries. Mind-boggling, because they had, if you watch Unsolved Mysteries, they have fantastic stories on there. My story is still apparently the most watched episode ever on Untold Mysteries. So I'm glad you found me. Of course, I was much younger then, wasn't I? No wrinkles, nothing going on there. But anyway, so if you want to know more about me, and if you want to go more in depth with me, and if you want to sort of really get dug in there, and the webinars that we're doing in the future, I'm going to give people exercises to do. I'm going to teach you how, if I can, how to become more nurturing of your own self, nurturing of your own soul, nurturing of your own spirit. Did you know that the spirit really is simply the aura or the energy field that surrounds the soul? But how do we get it to shine brighter? How do we get it to glow? So each of our webinars is going to be not just about the topics that we're choosing, but it's also about me being able to give to you something that you can take away, that you can use, that you can do. Just in fact, as I've done today with that little exercise. If you want to know more, go to YouTube, look at Healing Hands Around the World, and you'll see that there are quite a few excuse me, there are quite a few episodes that we did, and we will, as I've said, sometime in the new year be starting something similar up again with that. But we'll let you know. If you want to be on my mailing list, please email me, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. Request, please put me on the mailing list. Go to the web page. I think there's a place on the web page that it says subscribe, and if you click subscribe, does that automatically put people on the mailing list, Chris?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so go to the webpage, rosemaryaltea.com, click on subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and I promise you, you won't get inundated with emails every day of the week. I promise you that will not happen. But you will get our newsletter, which goes out once a month, and you will get updates on the things that we're doing, so on and so forth. So click on that little subscribe button there, and we'll keep you posted as to what we're doing. In the meantime, please, 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 all of you, thank you for joining me. You are wonderful. I do love you all. Thank you to Grey Eagle, of course. Thank you to Chris for such a brilliant job that you're doing. I'll see you perhaps on Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know that the time change in England, you just went back, so it's, instead of it being 5 hours ahead, it's now 4 hours ahead. But we've got our time change coming up soon anyway. You figure it out. It's too hard for me to figure this out. But I shall be there on Saturday with 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for our story time. I wonder what story I'm going to tell you today. What could it be? I don't know. Anyway, join me on Saturday and find out. In the meantime, please have a very, very blessed rest of the day, and have a very, very blessed rest of the week, everybody. Bye-bye.